All right, so today we are going to be reviewing. All right. I'm never going to give you guys an assignment without going over it myself with you guys or having you guys go over it with each other, whether that be partners or groups or whatever. But today we're going to kind of do a little bit of a lecture, some questions, back and forth, question and answer. But what I want to talk about is more so the reading and the make your own test that you guys had, the information that was in that reading. Okay, I'm going to share my screen here. Okay, I know it's a blank screen. So I want to start by saying today is going to be gold for notes. Gold. Take the little bit of time that I'm asking you to jot down some stuff that we talk about that I write down myself and will very, very much help you for your test. Same as when we talked about the muscles and the locations back in the beginning of the muscular system, doing that in and of itself during that class gave you 15 points for that test as well. Because remember, open note is free game. So how many types of muscle do we have? How many types of muscle in the body?
Three.
Three. That's correct. There are 3 different types of muscle. Okay. Someone name one.
Cardiac.
Here, let me do this. Cardiac.
Smooth.
Yeah. And what?
The skeletal.
That's correct. Good. And I'm just gonna leave some room here between these. Good. All right. So let's start down here. Skeletal muscle. This is the type of muscle that we are used to talking about and understanding when you use the term muscle. Anybody use the term muscle? The skeletal muscle is what we think of when we're actually talking about muscle. The skeletal muscle are those 15 muscles that we learned of the human body. But how many muscles about, how many skeletal muscle about do we have in the body?
600.
Yeah, over 600 of these in our body, right? Now, my next question is, do we have control over these? And before you guys answer this, if I, want to go pick up my water bottle that's sitting right there, could I move my arm and go get it? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yeah, right? I'm talking to you guys, right? And I'm typing. So I'm moving my hands, okay? I'm talking. So I'm moving my jaw. Do we have control over skeletal muscle? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes, we do.
Voluntary.
Who's that?
Drew.
True. You're right. So when we have control over something, that is considered a voluntary response. Okay. And I was really pleased by a lot of your make your own tests because a lot of you in very different ways, which was really cool to see, you used the word voluntary and involuntary and you asked these types of questions. And that's exactly what I was looking for because guess what? Those are the type of questions you're going to see on your test. So you're kind of already a step ahead there. So good job. Now, moving on to, I'm going to move up. We'll just move up this way. All right, smooth. So smooth is a type of muscle that if you didn't already know about maybe the muscular system or our bodies, you might not have ever even thought about this. But where in the body can we find smooth muscle?
Is it the stomach and the digestive system?
Oh, the digestive system? Yeah, the GI tract, digestive system, however you kind of want to say that. I can't spell today, right? Some people last period were saying, oh, in the woman's uterus. That's correct, right? Our urinary tract is kind of what is able to kind of move. You know, our GI tract, our stomach. Okay, we eat food and we swallow that food and it goes down to our belly. It's not like skeletal muscle. It's not like we're thinking about, okay, I just ate that food. Okay, now it's in my stomach. All right, now I have to break down that food. Okay, smooth muscle, go. Right? We don't do that. What I'm getting with that is, do we have control over smooth muscle?
Involuntary.
You're right. So do we have control over smooth muscle?
No, we don't.
No, we do not. So you're right. So if we have control over something, and there's another word for that, it's called voluntary. If we do not have control, the word is involuntary. Okay. Cardiac, we think of the word cardiac, we might think of the word cardio, cardiovascular, cardio workouts, right? So where's the only place in the body that you can find cardiac muscle?
Your heart.
Correct. I'm just trying to make it all the same. Yeah, your heart. Cardiac muscle is found in the heart. Your heart is made up of cardiac muscle. So I'm going to go and say, I think the heart, cardiac muscle is most important, right? Because we can live, maybe not well, but we can live with skeletal muscle not working or parts of our skeletal not working, skeletal muscle. Can we live with cardiac muscle not working?
No.
No.
No. Now, do we have control over cardiac muscle?
No.
No. Which means it is what?
Involuntary.
That's correct. Okay. And I know I was getting kind of hype about this, but I'm doing it on purpose because I really want to break it down so that it's a little bit clear. Some of you said that another word for skeletal muscle is voluntary, or that another term for smooth muscle is involuntary. And although I understood what you guys were saying, maybe the wording was a little off, because another term for involuntary is that we don't have control over that. Okay. And another term for voluntary, or what the definition is, that we do have control over it. So does that make sense? Does anybody want me to repeat that at all? Okay. So remember, skeletal muscle is usually what we think of when we're thinking muscles. So there's a few muscle terms that I'd like to talk about. All right. The first one is contract. Does anybody know what the definition? It's one word. Just what does the word contract mean? Anyone? And don't look it up. If you don't know, I don't want you to Google it. I just want, what do you think?
Yeah, I was about to say tighten up, because isn't that what the cardiac muscle does?
That's correct. Well, yes, all of the types of muscle contract and relax. Okay. For example, smooth muscle will contract and relax to move food around, for example, in your GI tract. Okay. So you're right. The word contract in any shape or form, even if we're not talking about the muscular system, just in general, contract means to tighten. Okay. And the opposite of this is, anyone know? What is the opposite of contract?
I'm gonna guess relax because you just said it.
You're right. I did. You're listening. So if contract means tighten, and I just told you that the opposite of contract is relax, so what is the opposite of relax? What's the opposite of tighten?
Expand.
Close. Expand means you're close. If something's really tight, it's really tight. And then what's the opposite of that?
Loose.
Loose. Good. Great job. Okay, or loosen. We'll say loosen. Okay. The reason why I wrote that is because there's a word called flex. And in life, people in general have gotten the term contract and the term flexed mixed up with each other. Okay, flex means bend, to bend. And in muscular terms, with the muscular system, flex means you're bending a part of your body. And a lot of times, think about like if somebody tells you to make a muscle, usually someone says, yo, flex your muscle, flex it. So they're pretty much saying, hey, bend your muscle. Muscles don't bend. Okay. It's not like if I, opened up your skin, we looked at your muscle, it's not going to like fold up or anything like that. Okay. It just tightens up and it loosens, and it tightens and it loosens. And so when a muscle contracts, this word right here, when a muscle contracts, it gets tighter, and then it pulls on a bone and it moves that part of the body. So I'm going to talk about my biceps brachii here in your guides, right? I added this in the muscle diagram. So just in case we're confused, okay? If you're not studying, or if you forgot your muscles, here, the biceps brachii. It's the front part of your arm. And if you guys remember, we talked about how it is a flexor muscle. The biceps a flexor muscle. And that just means this. I'm going to explain that to you. The bicep brachii is a flexor muscle, meaning when the bicep brachii contracts or tightens up, it pulls against your bone and it bends. Look right here at my elbow, my joint, my hinge joint, it bends a part of your body. Okay? Flex means bend. Muscles do not flex, they contract. But based on the contraction, it can bend a part of your body, or the opposite, it can extend a part of your body. What's the opposite of bend?
Straighten.
That's correct. And when we first started talking about the muscular system and we talked about the diagram and kind of went through some of the locations, I told you guys that muscles work in opposite pairs. And I also said to keep that in the back of your mind, but you don't really have to worry about it right now. So based on kind of what I just talked about with the biceps brachii, and I did mention that the biceps brachii does have a opposite pair muscle. What muscle is that? Here's the bicep brachii. What's the opposite?
The tricep brachii.
That's correct, right back here. The biceps and the triceps work in opposite pairs. Okay? And if you remember, and I'm just going to go, this is just an example, okay? The biceps is a flexor muscle, and the triceps is an extensor muscle. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, that was based on the reading. And many of you actually came up with questions and talked about which of the following muscle is an extensor muscle, which of the following muscles is a bicep muscle, or you had a true and false question with that. And I was very impressed because it was everything that I was going to be talking about as part of what I was going to be talking about today. So I was pretty impressed that a lot of you were able to kind of figure out, hey, I think that's important info, and I'm going to put it as one of my questions, right? So if the biceps is a flexor muscle and the triceps is an extensor muscle, and they work as opposite pairs, my question would be, how do these work as opposite pairs? Using these words. So take a minute, and how would you explain how they work at opposite pairs? And this isn't something that we learned, but based on the information, okay, so the biceps brachii contracts, And it does what to my arm? If my biceps contracting and tightening up, what happens to my elbow, my arm?
It's extending.
It's going to extend.
It tightens.
I said flex.
It flexes. My bicep tightens. Yeah, it contracts. And then my arm flexes. It bends right here. Okay. While that's happening, when your bicep brachii contracts, your tricep brachii relaxes. That's how they work as pairs. I'm going to explain this again. When your bicep brachii contracts, your arm flexes at your elbow. At the same time, your tricep brachii is relaxed. Now, when your tricep brachii contracts or tightens, it's going to tighten up right here. It's going to pull and it's going to extend. Your arm will extend. And during that, your biceps is relaxed. So they work as opposite pairs and they work together oppositely. So when one is contracting, the other is relaxing. And when the other is contracting, the opposite is relaxing. And that's how they work together. And the movements of your body while doing that are also opposites, because the bicep, as you can see here, is a flexor muscle, and the tricep is an extensor muscle. So when the bicep contracts, the arm flexes, and the triceps relax. When the triceps contracts, the arm does what?
Tighten.
Tighten means contracts. When your tricep contracts, the
Oh.
arm does what?
Loosens.
It extends. Who said that? Well, whoever it was, good job. So when the bicep contracts, the arm will flex because it's a flexor muscle. It can't do anything else. The arm, the movement is flexing because it's a flexor muscle. And the triceps the opposite. So when the biceps is working, the triceps is chilling, relaxing. That's how I always remembered it. It would just chill and relax. Okay. And then when the triceps contracting, meaning it's working, the arm will extend. How do I know that the arm's going to extend? Because it's an extensor muscle. And if I forget the word extend, it just means straighten. And during that time, the bicep's chilling. The bicep relaxes. Now, this concept of this can be a little bit difficult to understand because when a lot of us have originally ever learned the term flex, we don't realize that we're actually thinking about the word contract. You say, yo, flex your muscle. And we flex our arm because it's a flexor muscle. And that's where the term flex your muscle comes from. And it makes sense when you're talking about the biceps because it actually bends and flexes that part of your body. But if I was talking about, yo, flex your tricep, doesn't make sense. So it takes a little bit more time to kind of understand the concept. The last two words, and you probably have heard of this word before. What is the word? Where have you ever heard the word abduct before?
Doctor.
Yeah, your abductors. Your abductors. Right here, your abductors are on the outside part of your leg. Okay? And the word abduct actually means you're moving something away from the center of the body. In layman's terms. So based on the muscles that you already learned, what do you think the opposite of the term abduct is? What's the opposite of abduct? Think about the muscles. Look at the notes from when we learned the muscle, the skeletal muscle. Starts with an A. Adduct. And if you guys remember, what is the muscle? Someone said abductors, and the other muscle on the inside of the thigh are known as the what?
Adductors.
Adductors. Okay. Now look, what I want you guys to do, no one can see you. Okay. And I can't see you either. So that kind of sucks. And I won't know if you're doing this or not. But what I'm going to ask you guys to do is this. First, you can watch. Okay. I'm going to move this out of the way. All right. So my abductors, this one right here that I just highlighted. All right. They're right here. Okay. And the word abduct means away from the center of your body. So that means I take my leg and I'm going to move it this way, right out. And if I hold my body like this for a long period of time, even just a few seconds, I'm going to start to feel some like burning. And what that means, guys, is I'm working out that muscle because I'm doing the movement that it's meant to do. So what I want you guys to do is stand up. No one can see you, okay? And I just want you to try something. What I'm gonna ask you to do is bring your leg out and just hold it until I say stop. Ready, set, go. You're gonna abduct your leg out, hold it until you start feeling that in your abductor muscles. Once you start feeling it, you'll know exactly where your abductor muscles are because that's what the feeling is and the tightening is of. Okay, you can stop. All right. And the reason why you felt that is because you were holding your leg up against gravity and you're using your own body weight. So it's kind of like you're using a body weight workout, and doing that over and over and over again is a workout. So that could be something that you can try if you don't have any equipment or if you don't go to the gym or, whatever it is. Now the term adduct, and we're not going against gravity here, so you're not really going to feel it, but I'll just show it to you. So abduct is this, and adduct is moving my leg back in. Abduct is out, away from the body, and adduct, ADD, is moving back in. All right. The way that I always remembered this is and like you're kind of adding something to the center of your body. Now, although we have muscles that are called abductors and adductors, the term abduct and adduct are not just for your leg area. Because if I take my arm at my shoulder and I abduct my arm, that just means I'm moving my arm away from my body. And if I adduct my shoulder, then I'm moving my arm back towards the center of my body. Are there any questions on that? Are there any questions on anything so far? And your test is when?
The 29th.
29th, Friday.